Hey there, everybody! I have been so excited for Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's really just unreal. When I first read about Animal Crossing in Nintendo Power years ago, it really quickly became my most anticipated game ever. As we all know, information on the internet, it really wasn't as readily available then as it is today, so I was left to rereading the issues over and over again until the game came out. Naturally, I was instantly hooked, and with each following game, I've just fallen more and more in love with the series, and today it's by far my favorite video game franchise ever. But even though I'm a game composer, one thing that I didn't really fully appreciate about Animal Crossing over the years was actually its soundtrack. It really wasn't until New Leaf that I understood how brilliant the music really is, and what absolute magicians Manaka Katauka and Kazumi Totaka are. So today, I wanted to take the opportunity while New Horizons is fresh on your mind to chat a bit about what makes the music tick, and why the music is just so effective at a conceptual level, especially in the context of our day-to-day lives. But before that, just so that you know a bit about myself, as this is my first video, I'm Kylydian, and I'm a composer for video games. I focus on classical and soundscape type music primarily, but I love finding inspiration from outside sources, and I feel as if I have a lot to say about really effective uses of music in games. YouTube is just a platform that I've been considering for a while simply as a way to just share my thoughts. Now, I will say that there are many people out there already who do game music theory analysis, so typically that's not going to be my focus. I'm wanting to approach game music more from the philosophical, musicology, and historical side of things, while trying to find connections to game music in ways that we don't normally think about. So, if you like what you see and this interests you, please do let me know by subscribing and liking or commenting on this video. But enough about that. This is the brilliance of music in Animal Crossing. Now, because New Horizons is just so fresh, I'm actually going to be referring to Animal Crossing music as a whole across the series, just through the lens of New Leaf. I hope you can understand that I just haven't had the time to commit to learning the New Horizons music by heart yet, and I want to make sure that I really do this game justice, so I'm definitely going to do a follow-up video down the line on New Horizons specifically. But regardless, I'm pretty certain that many of the concepts that I'm going to talk about today in New Leaf are going to be present in Horizons as well. So, in regards to Animal Crossing music, I actually want you to make a mental note right now that each game actually in a way kinda has a split soundtrack, just written by different people. In New Leaf in particular, one half of the soundtrack is written primarily by Manaka Katauka, and the other written by Kazumi Totaka. Let me say that I do know that there are two composers involved on each game, and I'm sure that there is some crossover between Totaka and everybody else, but for the purposes of this video, let's just make the separation of Totaka and Katauka. And the reason for that is that the music by these composers serve very different yet complementary purposes. However, it's important to note that Katauka was not a composer on Animal Crossing until City Folk. Concepts regarding her work, however, do apply across the other composers throughout the different releases. Honestly, Animal Crossing is one of the more stable franchises in its music production and quality across the games, at least in my opinion. And then one other brief. Naturally, these are all my own ideas, so don't take anything that I say as a hard fact. And if you have different views than I do, that's awesome, and I really do encourage that. But enough rambling. Let's start with Totaka, or as you know him in game, this guy, KK Slider. KK Slider is a literal representation of Totaka, and honestly, the entire soundtrack might revolve around the ideas that KK lays out for us. In regards to KK, I want you to first notice how he titles his tracks. It's super simple, but I actually find this to be the crux of all Animal Crossing music. KK Rock, KK Bossa, KK Ballad, KK Jazz, KK Country. The list goes on and on and on. There are a ton of tracks titled with KK somewhere in them. In fact, 77 of his 91 songs in New Leaf are this way. That's almost 85%. Now, seeing these titles, you might think it's an easy interpretation. It's just the title of the song and that it's by KK, right? Well, let's take a quick listen to KK Rock. Alright, so what did you hear? KK Rock is just a rock song, right? Nothing else. Just a rock song by KK. Pretty simple. But that's the point. KK Rock is a rock song, and that's it. Is it a good composition? Yeah, it's alright, I guess. It's definitely rock music. It's got guitar, bass, drums, riffs, it's all there. But it doesn't break any new ground. It plays it safe. It's just got literally only the elements it needs to be a rock song. You could even go so far to say that it's the literal definition of a rock song. And that's the point. KK Rock could be interpreted as the definition of rock music. Nothing more, nothing less. But what if we take this a step further? Let's try to think like Totaka, the composer, for a little bit. What if this could be him answering the question, what does rock music sound like as a concept? What if every track labeled KK insert genre here is just a track that's meant to define the basics of that genre, and that's why so many of KK's tracks sound both, dare I say, generic, yet engaging at the same time. I call this writing music to concepts. Concepts are vitally important to understanding Animal Crossing music, and they're the main reason why it's so effective at being a playlist to your virtual life. Music isn't normally thought of this way, but the personalization aspect of Animal Crossing is what really drives this point home. KK Rock captures in music the essence of rock music. If you like rock music, you can take KK Rock and put it in your in-game home, showing everyone that yes, you do in fact like rock music. You might not love the composition, but there's a strong chance that you'll have some kind of attachment to it. All of KK's music does this exact same thing. It's all music that by association can become very personal to the player. It's this idea of defining genres through music that's almost redundant, but is critically important to not only appreciating the music in Animal Crossing, but to personalizing your own experience in Animal Crossing as well. That's expert craftsmanship. But I had said earlier though that we should split the soundtrack in two, with the other half being fronted by Manaka Katauka. She wrote most of the other music in New Leaf, from the hourly music to the main themes. But even here, we can apply the idea of conceptual music that we get from KK in new ways. So let's start with the main theme. It plays 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Seriously, every single hourly track is a different arrangement of the main theme. Some of these arrangements slap you in the face with how obvious they are, but others are so well hidden you'd never fully notice unless you analyze the harmony in excruciating detail. This means that the main theme itself has to be written in a way that you never get tired of it. It has to be good. It has to be real good. You hear it in its original form at the title screen and at a few other key places as well. But each main theme across the series is very close to being a theme that I would almost describe as perfect. But as with any music, if you listen to it constantly, it will get exhausting to the human ear. This is exactly why the idea that KK brings up of conceptual music comes into play again. Each hour has a different feeling than the others, and each hour utilizes the main theme in a different way, yet they manage to feel very distinct from each other. Adjacent hours often share similar ideas or musical styles, so it's easy to group them into morning, midday, evening, and nighttime tracks. But the music is ever present. The main theme is ever present. No matter the time of day, you're going to get a track that lets you know, okay, it's 7 p.m. right now. So let's ask a similar question as to the one that we did with KK. To me, instead of what does rock music sound like, these hourly tracks are asking, if it was 7 p.m. and music was playing naturally around me at this exact moment, what would it sound like? What does 7 a.m. sound like instead? How is it different from 7 p.m.? What does noon sound like? 11 p.m.? Really fast, let's take a quick listen to these tracks back to back. Alright, so what ties all of them together even though they're at different times of the day? The answer to that question is the main theme, and that's the brilliance of the music in Animal Crossing. It's music that is literally meant to be the soundtrack to your life. You just gotta stop and listen. Each arrangement features the main theme in a different way, and they're all just different enough that you never tire of the same melody or idea despite constantly hearing it. It draws the player further into the world, one track never being around longer than an hour before you hear the next one. This makes the music a sort of glue that can anchor the player to the game for longer play sessions, as we know we all do. But it also allows everyone to have such a personal relationship with the different hourly themes in Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing puts ideas into a musical space that aren't normally thought of musically. It allows us to play for days on end and not get annoyed with the music. And because of this, people always, they look fondly at Animal Crossing music, yet I find that it's not often quoted in many people's favorite soundtracks. I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of comments if this video takes off about how wrong I am, and that's okay. But this phenomenon to me is because the music, it's meant to be behind the scenes. It's meant to be relaxing, ambient, not noticed. It's a silent, yet very loud motivator to keep you in the world. It's not meant to be the best music of the year. It's meant to be personal, to find ways to relate to you. You can even find 24-hour playlists or Chrome extensions that play hourly Animal Crossing music. People love the music, despite it having such a silent, powerful presence. It really is the soundtrack to accompany a life. And like I said, Animal Crossing is a game that still really means more to me than any other. I'm going to greatly enjoy New Horizons 2, I'm sure. I'm incredibly excited to just keep playing more than I already have, and to see how these musical ideas apply to this soundtrack as well, how they're expanded on, and what new ideas I can get from my own compositions. You can bet that down the line I will do an analysis of the music in New Horizons specifically, but in general, there's just so much to talk about with the music of Animal Crossing. And the sound design. I'll definitely be back on this topic at some point. But until then, you're going to be able to find me relaxing on my own personal getaway island. I'm looking to crush my debt as soon as possible. Hey there, thank you so much for watching this video. This was my first one, and I'm looking forward to hopefully doing more down the line as well. I want to take a look at game music soundtracks as a whole and find ideas that we as composers or musicians or sound designers can take and implement into our own work. Now, if you don't write game music, I am trying to make these videos easily digestible for you as well. So if you could leave a like, a comment on what you liked or what you think I could do better, or maybe even game music that you would like to see me cover in the future, I would really appreciate it. But now I'm looking to branch out into other avenues, and I'm simply considering YouTube as a way to just talk about music. If you'd like to get in touch, you can follow me on Twitter at Kylydian, or if you'd like to get involved, learn some about game music, meet some composers, that kind of stuff, check out a server of game composers that I help organize on Discord called Beats to Play Games To. The link to that is right in the description of this video. It's a really awesome community, and I'm sure that you can learn a bunch from everybody there. I know that I do like every day. But seriously, I really do hope that you enjoyed listening to me ramble about Animal Crossing music for a little bit, and hopefully you learned something too. It really is my favorite series, so I really did have a great time putting this together for you. Thank you so much, everybody, and until next time.